Welcome to EconoChat. Let's talk business with Mr. Daniel Steinman. This is Elsevier hostess, and we will be talking about trade. Yes, that is trade, and I'm referring to, of course, SACU, that is the Southern African Customs Union as well. And then also we're going to talk about CMA, something that you might not be familiar with, but of course we have the master right here in studio with us to elaborate more. What is CMA? And also we spoke about trade retail last week. So the two is actually hand in hand, because without SACU, we cannot trade, and that means that we cannot import anything. So let's talk about trade.
Very true, very true. I can see you are listening very closely.
I do.
Yeah, it's only logical that when we spoke about retail, now remember I said retail is very, very important in the Namibian economy. Mm-hmm. First of all, it's a very big contributor to GDP. So it's very important what we buy and what we consume.
Yes.
And then I also said that retail is the thermometer. It tests the temperature of the rest of the economy. Mm-hmm. If retail is lagging in the statistics, you know that the consumer is suffering.
Yeah.
And this was the whole point that I was making. The statistics look good superficially. You know, from a macro point of view, these growth figures, they are fantastic. But you don't see it in the retail figures.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you? It tells you that the ordinary Namibian is having a hard time.
Yeah.
So if you look at retail, this is what we buy and sell. It means it has to come from somewhere. And now you know that we produce very little of what we consume.
Very little.
It's only in the last 10 years or so that we've started producing a small amount of fresh produce. But the bulk, as a matter of fact, about 84% of the groceries that we consume still come from South Africa. And of the more technical imports, I would assume that about, and I'm guessing now, but about 95-96% comes from South Africa or via South Africa. Yeah. You see, so we still very much stuck with that. We are with the umbilical cord, like a baby attached to his mother. We are attached to South Africa, and there's not much that we can do about it. It's not going to change. As a matter of fact, we are growing closer and closer and closer, and that's why I want to talk about SACU. Because if you look at the retail and you consider what must come into the country, then you have to, in the same breath, you have to talk about trade. Things must leave that market and enter this market. Yeah. And whether it is a service, like a restaurant chain, or whether it is post toasties or whatever, anything that we consume is part of trade. Trade is goods and services moving between jurisdictions. Now that's a mouthful, I know, but let's break it down. So we have the customs union. Incidentally, it's the oldest customs union in the world. I think it started in 1910 with the formation of the Union of South Africa. The customs union include the 4 countries that we are familiar with: us, Botswana, South Africa, and Lesotho. No, not Botswana. Customs Union. Hang on, now I must get my facts right. The Customs Union include Botswana. The Common Monetary Area excludes Botswana.
That is CMA.
The CMA, Common Monetary Area, CMA, that is without Botswana. The Customs Union is with Botswana. So if you look at the Customs Union as a grouping, as an entity, you will see that South Africa is still dominant.
Yeah.
It's about 80% of the Customs Union, and the other 4 partners put together is about 20%. As a comparison, the Namibian economy is about 3% of the South African economy. The Botswana economy be about 4%. Eswatini, I think 1%, and Lesotho maybe 0.5%. But we're not talking about economic size now. We're now talking about the movement of stuff. between these countries.
Yeah.
And the more important thing for us, the movement of stuff from outside the customs union into any one of these 5 countries, regardless of whether it goes through South Africa or whether it comes to us directly. If you want to understand this, look at the history at independence. I doubt it anything came into the customs union through Walvis Bay, for instance. Walvis Bay was only an export harbour.
Yeah.
If you look at it today, it's a very important import harbour, and it is the policy that is followed for the development of the various corridors that all converge at Walvis Bay is one to increase its contribution as an import harbour. So you can see that slowly, and it's really slowly, Elsabe. I mean, it took the better part of 30 years to make a difference. Slowly, the weight in the customs union is being distributed more evenly among the members. And in the second part of our talk, I want to focus on why the customs union is so important for us.
Okay.
For Namibia, not for the other members.
Okay. Let's do that right after this break. Why is SACU so important for Namibia?